Welcome to my thoughts on Amy's Dead End Dreamhouse, Season 1, Episode 3, Ghosts of Friendship Past. The episode is rated TVMA, so will this video be. There will be spoilers for at least these first 3 episodes, possibly also the 3 after it, and another episode that I absolutely loved. And as usual, this video might build on some of the things I've said in my videos on the first 2 episodes, so that I do not restate here what I said there. This is one of my favorite episodes of the 6. And yeah, I think let's do the recommendation as the very first thing. I try to each video recommend one fellow leftist YouTuber, and since it is Women's History Month, I am trying to make sure that it is a female leftist YouTuber, and this time it will be the Rebecca Watson skeptic video, Cesar Chavez, Abusive Cult Leader. And I guess I barely even have to say that I'm going to focus on the female characters here, because the most... Yeah, I mean, Amy is star of the show. So, yeah, I think we're just more or less going to go scene by scene chronologically, as best as I recall. So, we open on just the thing about, keeping calm. And the way that she's like, see, I kept calm because Mike interrupted you and was like, asked you who asks. It's such a silly, like, why would you be particularly upset? Like, it's a minor nuisance, and the let's see, I think that is also yeah, and it's a it's a good use of the format, because we know how this goes from children's TV. This is supposed to be the big, she's gonna lay out this entire, and normally either there wouldn't be interruptions at all, or they would be backing her up rather than kind of cutting her down. And then Carrie the male person shows up. This, I think, might be my favorite appearance of theirs, though the first one was also really, really great. But yeah, the let's see, the letter is delivered, and Amy not really listening about Carrie's friend, and then later in the episode does apologize, and it gets better. And yeah, the thing about, well, as I was saying, I am cool as a cucumber. What the fuck is that? That was yeah. And yeah, we just see she reads, over and over. Her eyes just pass over this paper, and then the camera cuts, and the only word is come. And let's see, the yeah, I thought it worked really well. I don't know if this was purposeful or what, but maybe it was just a happy accident. But so it's made clear, okay, so there's someone who contacted Amy in this letter. And then we get the intro, and, most of it is, it's characters where, but we also have Katja in there. And in the intro, Katja is strangling Amy. So, of course, I found myself thinking that Katja was playing the friend that contacted, so that really worked well. That then, fairly close to the end of the episode, it turns out, no, Katja's like the neighbor who helped with advice. I really do appreciate these like complete non sequitur openings where they'll show something that absolutely did not happen in the episode, even remotely. But yeah, and this is also one of those episodes that, some of these resonated more with me than others, and definitely have had, friendship breakup. Several of the other problems I have been, really just fortunate to not experience. But yeah, that's and I really appreciate, they talk about, well, it's difficult, and I don't know, maybe you shouldn't go, like you don't owe them anything. And I love that one of them, I think it was Quake, it was like, it's just a letter, it'll never hold up in court. You're gonna be sued for not showing up when your friend invites you to talk. Like, it's such complete wonderful nonsense. As just, yeah, I really love the humor on this show. And yeah, them talking about their various, Mike talking about the food processor, which there at the end of the episode he does still, we see, I mean, as he describes early in the episode, yeah, he still has these like PTSD flashbacks to it. And I fucking adore the part where TV is like, without a best friend, you are completely worthless according to every sitcom ever. That is so fucking true. Like, I have watched dozens of sitcoms, and genuinely, that's such a great observation about, yeah. I think that might pretty much cover that entire, yeah. And so they talk about, no, yeah, that's when she goes to the place. And I love that they're like, so they're in communication, but Amy's clearly holding up a remote control, not a phone of any kind, and like the thing that the appliances is talking into, also clearly not an actual phone. And yeah, so we see the sign. I appreciate this is one of those where they linger just long enough that if you're quick, you can read everything. You don't have to pause. It's a pet peeve of mine. And I'll admit that I don't think I understand everything on there, but I do appreciate, avocado toast, which, like, boy, do rich people love to talk about how the reason millennials struggle with, to have enough money to get by is, they just spend it all on avocado toast. I don't know if a Monte Cristo sandwich is a real thing, but I do know that the Count of Monte Cristo is a revenge story, so appreciate that little, yeah. And they don't draw attention to it either. They play it exactly right. And yeah, and the thing about, like, maybe you could get revenge. I was gonna say closure. Yeah, that too. Revenge, and and them talking about, like, I mean, you could be messy and still go see them, even if this is gonna be a disaster. And yeah, the thing about, like, I'll spill soup on her. I hope she's wearing white. I'm not saying no to soup revenge, but is that the best we can do? Are we happy with that? Like, should we just, like, get together and brainstorm this thing? And then the yeah, so for a while, Amy is just like staking out the place, and Ryan walks up like, your table's ready, and I know, I'm trying to make a good entrance, And at first, his reaction does seem like a little, okay. I mean, I get, I don't know, maybe they don't get a lot of revenge table, reservations, but when you realize, there was no one actually there, like, it seems like she was never actually there because wait, no, because he does say it looks like your friend left, so I guess he did perceive that she was there. I don't know. It's it's parody and of a kids show specifically, so it doesn't really need to fully make sense or anything. Oh, right, and the whole thing with her being upset. Sorry, I don't know why I skipped over that. I forgot is what happened. The thing with like, oh God, we have to stop her. She's doing fucking poetry. Oh, it's worse. It's limericks, and your count was off. And the let's see, yeah. So she, she sees the mannequin, getting Silent Hill flashbacks, and then she's gonna try to make a smooth entrance, but then instead she just, is super awkward about it and sits down. And then we get what is my personal favorite so far, and I'm not saying, maybe we'll get, even better in the future, but on the show so far, this is my favorite use of having a character that seems to talk, but we, the audience, never hear it. Because I spent the entire thing trying to figure out if any of this was real. And then, the joke about like, no, this is an actual mannequin, because they act like Cindy talks, and, at first it seemed like she's never actually going to move. Oh, she moved. But yeah, and the whole thing, and she's trying to pretend like her life is better than it is, and saying, my job is better than your job, obviously. And then the thing with like, oh, so what happened with your last girlfriend? Which, again, nice little, just smoothly, like, they don't make a big deal out of it, but just like, yeah, apparently this mannequin, identifies by she, her pronouns, and is, not straight. And it's not treated as anything bad or, I really appreciate, like, there was a long time where if I watched a piece of media, years and years ago, if an LGBTQ plus person popped up in it, they would make a big deal out of it. And some of it was well-meaning, but it was also like, ooh, spotlight on this person's insecurities. And like, there's so many members of that community that just want to be allowed to exist in this world. They don't want to constantly have to, explain their identity and, educate others about it, so yeah, really appreciate that. And the thing, so that last girl you were seeing, Case, and, just as we're thinking, oh, Case, yeah, there's people named, I'm not sure Case specifically, but certainly KC, so maybe it's a variation of that. But then it's like the display case in the, it's like, oh, right, she really is a mannequin. And I love that Ryan the waiter walks in. It's like, so, what do you want? I'll have the soup. And then, and you. Oh, thank you. That's so nice. Normally we don't do modifications, but I'll see what I can do. So, even the waiter likes the friend better than Amy. And that just reminded me, between these two, obviously we have the ad break, which was also just, it's so fucking good. It's Cindy who gives the, and there's just the ominous droning, and the camera slowly, dollies in on her. And then it goes to, we have another, they like a meditation, guided meditation kind of thing. I forget exactly what they call it. And yeah, it's just, this thing of like, well, your friends are having fun behind your back. That's not a theory. That's a fact. Remember that group chat that didn't, really have anymore? They have a group chat without you, and it is popping off. Like, for real. I'm technically part of that group chat. I should go. This is getting awkward. Just that whole thing, just so fucking funny. And the way that, like, the words loneliness and isolation become like a black hole. Because, like, yeah, it's such great exploration of, because it is, yeah, we'll all at one point or another, if not have a friend, at least think we'll have a friend, or wish we had one, or that sort of thing. And yeah, she's so right. Amy is, and the writers and such. Nothing really prepares us for it, romantic relationships ending is something we're prepared for. And then it goes back to Cindy, and it's like, oh my God, that was the best thing ever. Just, yeah. but yeah, and then, so apparently the mannequin says something about her wedding, and that was also great. So how did it go? And then we see the ring on her finger, and it's like, this is getting so fucking surreal, I swear. So okay, so two mannequins are getting married, and right, oh my god, the whole thing with, like, she left me in the middle of the ocean. She left you in a parking lot, Ames. And then I had to fight man-eating snails. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't even know what she's referring to here. I'm sorry. I can't explain that. And then the thing with, Dolphin had to carry me home on, on foot. That's an image. And then it's like, you know what? That actually did happen. I'm sorry. I fucking love when this show does that exact bit of just like, what happened? I'm sorry. Can you run that by me again? And yeah, so she says, wedding, and is like, you want me to be a bridesmaid at your wedding? I mean, usher your wedding. You want me to get my cousin to cater your wedding, And she explains she has more self-respect now than that. She's not going to go along with this, even if she might have in the past. And then the friend is just gone. And I love that somehow the flashback lasts. I guess it's maybe not the flashback itself, but somehow Amy was at that table for 3 hours and has to go. Wow. And the yeah, the thing with, the conversation with Katja with wet sex sounds, and, well, if you hear it from me from this apartment, that's Cindy. Oh, I know. Are you hanging out with Cindy behind my back? And the point made, there's no such thing as closure, and that is sadly very true. It is, it would be nice, but I don't know that that's really something, that does really, or at least a lot of the time it doesn't happen. And so we have to find other ways to process, And I think that might be right. And the thing about, like, why didn't you compliment me on the dress? And I think that does pretty much right. I also just love that the so there's this white void, not a white void, that the restaurant setting exists in, which is, of course, both, it works well as this liminal space, and it's this, like, it forces us to hyperfixate and focus on just the table and the people, or the person and the mannequin, and that whole thing. But then when she's, like, hiding near it, it's just like, stuff they had on set or something, like equipment. It doesn't look like, oh, she's, like, hiding behind a bus stop or something. And I think that does bring us to right. And the thing with, oh, Cindy is there. You were there the whole time and you didn't speak up for me. So evidently, like, there's a hypothetical version of this scene where it's just two characters who speak, but we never hear it, in conversation with each other. And yeah, that is when, so yeah, Amy goes home, and we get the second ad, and yeah, now instead of advertising the drinkable lava lamp, it's, you want to sue the person who tricked you into getting an edible lava lamp? That's pretty funny. And the refrain thing of, like, you know what number to call. Your baby knows what number to call. Wow. And right, I also really appreciate them talking about what ends friendships, and one of them is MLMs. I mean, you're not wrong. And they specify religious MLMs are the very worst. But yeah, and then, Maggie Mayfish just absolutely hamming it up. Like, I don't know what number to call. I'm so sorry. I've tried to be a member of this community, so now he's having like a friendship crisis. And then so the number's right. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm sure you're a great guy. The first time I watched the episode, I was a tiny bit worried that they were going to like belabor that joke and just have the two go back and forth. Maybe because I've watched one too many times the Bad Man sketch where, oh, now they know that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and they just go back and forth forever. And like, I get it must have been fun to write, film, edit, perform. It just drags, and I am not the first person to say that, and I also appreciate that it's an ice cold take, because that was pointed out when it was new, like I don't know, 10 fucking years ago. But I really appreciate that. Yeah, they just, immediately he does a, but then it's like, I can't, but that's on the screen, I can't see it in front of me, and she puts her face right up against the glass, yeah, and just, yeah, I don't know, it's giving Weird Al, and I'm here for it. And the I guess I'm specifically thinking of the Rocky Road video. And I guess that does pretty much bring us to the last bit. So I'm not touching the gazpacho or the discussion about it. I don't feel at all qualified. Let's see. I think that does cover the... but yeah, that was pretty funny. The thing with this soup is, waiter, this soup is cold. It's gazpacho. You asked for the soup du jour, and it's gazpacho. You should have checked. And then it's like, well, can you heat it up? Because I'm trying to scold her, And he's just like, no. That was very funny to me. And yeah, and he's there like to defend the honor of gazpacho and point out the cultural significance. And yeah, I think that might... I guess somewhere Lisa Simpson is very upset by Amy's comments about gazpacho. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers the entire episode. Let's see. Yeah. Right, I really like the thing about, TV saying she's not even, she's a previously unestablished character. She can't do this to you. And then suddenly, like, a fucking toaster that talks pops out of the... or not pops out, but the drawer opens, and there's a toaster there, and the toaster's like, yeah, fuck her. I'm sorry, I don't think we've been formally introduced. And that's just, yeah, it's a classic, classic comedy of just having the thing happen that a character is complaining about to emphasize the punchline. Wonderful. Yeah, I think that might be it for this one. The let's see. But yeah, I did really appreciate that. Yeah, by the end, it is indeed just, yeah, the mannequin wanted to get something out of Amy, and didn't care about how much she hurt Amy. And the thing with like, so what's it been, 10 years? Only 2? It felt like 15. I thought it felt like 10. Like, just, yeah. I think that might... Right, I like that Cindy is, like, at one point, like, leaps onto Amy's lap, so, like, a dog, which, like, I mean, yeah, technically, there was a bit of a quality of, like, dog to Cindy in the job hunting bit. And but yeah, and there's a part where Cindy's on top of, and then Amy can't get her to leave at first, and then she does, they do the wire work lifting out. Yeah, I think that does pretty much cover the entire thing. Yeah. So, I meant to say the following at the end of my video on the first episode, and I forgot. And I remembered just in time to do the second episode, and then I forgot. And here we are. So apologies for this being 2 episodes late. Not to mention, all the months that passed before I started doing videos on this show. But yeah, for the first episode of this show, I realized that if I had a nickel for every time I watched a Nebula original by a very talented, one or more very talented young women, exploring, important issues by using this kind of lens that makes it pop even more than it already would, feature at least one song by Tessa Violet, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.